Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel for the final World Cup review of this year's Rugby World Cup. Yes, I am reviewing the final of the World Cup between England and South Africa, the end of the tournament. Let's get straight into it. So this was one heck of a final. Two teams who in my eyes deserve to be there 100%. Putting everything on the line in the knockouts, the group stages to get to this position. 80 minutes away from a World Cup trophy. Could England add two? Could South Africa add another one to make it three? Well, it was South Africa who made it 3 World Cup titles, and by God were they good. They were outstanding. They pulled it out of the bag, and before the final I was thinking they're slowly building. They're slowly building and I don't think they reached their peak. Then the final was the peak. They were brilliant. The best we've seen of them all tournament. Everything was on point. The kicking game was fantastic. The attacking game, as much as it wasn't that good, it's when the game started to open up, they were very clinical. Their defence, their defence was insane. To hold back an England attack with so much vigour and so much passion. How they did that I will never know. The English were camped on the South African try line for about 5 minutes and God knows how many phases, and they didn't score a try in the whole game. They had so many opportunities, and that's not because England didn't take them. As much as England did make mistakes, it's mainly because of that South African defence that stopped them. And for me, it's completely won them the World Cup, that defence, because if their defence was slightly worse than it was, or like any other team's defence in this World Cup, any other big team's defence, then England would have easily got past. But South Africa have shown why their defence is the best in the world, and through all of this they fully deserved this World Cup, and it was fantastic. I said their kicking game was on point. It was brilliant. Pollard with and de Klerk as well, with a lot of high ball kicks, and they put pressure on the defence. They put pressure on England with these kicks. They put them into corners. They found space. They pressured them. And this is what South Africa do. They're such a good tactical side. And especially with their kicking. They kicked it to up high and left it for a while and then allowed the chasers to come in. The work rate of their backs and the chasers was outstanding, to always be chasing that England back three when they catch the ball, and every time the England back three caught the ball, I don't really think they had anywhere to go. The South Africans were on them straight away, caused them to make errors after that and force issues, and then South Africa got the ball back. It was fantastic. The tactical game was on point, and to beat England the way they were going after that New Zealand win, it's almost a miracle, because I thought the way England were going they would beat the South Africans, but yeah, that was brilliant from South Africa. But I haven't talked about England yet, and they deserve so much credit. As much as they weren't at their best, they stuck in there. They weren't at their best. They were making errors. The ball wasn't going to hand. They couldn't finish off chances, which usually they would because they're so clinical. And as much as it wasn't their day, they were sticking in there. They were there or thereabouts. At half time, they were still there, even though they weren't the better team. And they were still there up until around the 60th minute. They were keeping within touch. And if anything, they were slowly coming into it in that second half. They were building confidence. The first half wasn't that good, and the second half they were starting to get momentum, starting to get themselves back into the game, and you could sense something was shifting. Something was shifting, and it looked like England could just come back and come back and take a victory, because they were starting to get themselves going. They were really going well, and then South Africa, wow, they coped with that pressure put on them very well. And yeah, but it wasn't the English's day, and it's quite disappointing to see a team who have done so well in a World Cup have an off day in the final, because if they played the way they did against the New Zealanders, this could have been much closer than it was. It was already close, but it could have gone right to the wire. It could have gone to extra time. It could have been a win for England. It could have gone down to the last minute, you know. But, well, what can you say other than the fact that South Africa put them under so much pressure throughout the whole game, and basically won in every facet, because the South Africans put them under pressure, caused the English to make errors, and from that they got momentum, and it started to go their way, and they were dominating play, controlling everything. And when it came to the last 20 odd minutes, when the game was starting to open up, and everyone was starting to get a bit frantic trying to get points, England were getting frantic trying to score a try, trying to get back into the game, South Africa was so calm in that period, in that last 20-minute period, and scored 2 beautiful tries. The first one, forward pass or not, it was given a try, and that's all at the end of the day. It was given a try, and it was still a very good try. And Mapimpi has been brilliant in this World Cup, and that was fantastic creation from him. The pace, then the chip, and the support as well. He didn't need to make that pass at the end. He did, and it's good that he did, because it's safety. Because the tackle could have came in over the line, could have dislodged the ball, and to have the awareness and think about that in that situation when he could have got white line fever is brilliant. It shows the calmness that he just offloads it and makes it a safe try for Mapimpi. And then Colby's try, the second one, that really finished the game. Well, that was just magic, wasn't it? First of all, the strip on Slade, I think it was, who got stripped. The counter-attack from that was brilliant. Straight out to Colby, and the English defence wasn't really set, and they were trying to fly into tackles. But the stepping game of Colby is insane, and he got round Farrell what looked like ease, and that is going to haunt Farrell for days on days, on weeks, because he is such a good defender, and to be done in like that, as he was in a World Cup final, is not going to give him good memories at all. But the smooth, quick feet of Colby, it was a brilliant try, and it's a try that really topped off this World Cup. It was brilliant, and yeah, it was just a fantastic final. As much as England didn't perform that well on the day, I think they showed courage to stay in the game, to stay in a game which they weren't very good in, and they were poor in. I also think that England may have reached their peak a bit too early. I feel like the New Zealand game was their peak, and yeah, and I think they suffered from a bit of hangover from that win in the semi-final. I think that may have been an issue as well, when South Africa was slowly building, and their peak was the final. And yeah, 2 teams who fully deserved to be in that final, gave it everything, gave it their all, but it was South Africa who came out on top in the end, and in my eyes, they're the deserved winners of the final, and I think they're deserved winners of the World Cup as well. They're the first ever team to win a World Cup and lose a poor stage game. Of course, they lost to New Zealand in the opening game, but they weren't poor in that game, and after that game, they could have easily gone to crap, but in the end, they stayed calm and they rebuilt. They built and built and built. Through every game, they were slowly getting better and better and better, and then they peaked at the right time. And it shows so much mental toughness to come back from a loss in your opening pool game, to come back and win the World Cup. It's brilliant from South Africa, and for me, they're fully deserved of it. England, they would have been deserved of it as well, because they've had a fantastic World Cup, and they shouldn't go home disappointed. They should go home so pleased of what they've done, because as much as they missed a game against France, other than that, they were outstanding throughout the whole tournament. the game against New Zealand shows how good this England team is and how they could have won this final if things just went their way, if they just stayed calm, because part of me feels like they were rushing things and they were nervous. If they would have just stayed calm and played like they did against the Kiwis, they could have easily won this World Cup. But they came second in the end, and as much as they could have won the World Cup, I think they should go home pleased. This will hurt, but they should go home pleased because they were fantastic throughout this whole tournament. And yeah, the tournament has been topped off on such a high. Although there were lows with the tsunami, with the typhoon that occurred and the cancellation of games, other than that, this World Cup has been fantastic, and the final topped off a brilliant World Cup with South Africa taking the trophy back home to their country. And yeah, brilliant stuff from the South Africans. They add 3 to their titles now. 3 World Cups it is for them, and they go home winning the Rugby World Cup 2019 in Japan against the English by 32 points to 12 in what was a fantastic end to a fantastic tournament. So thank you all for watching. That is my review of the final, and yeah, it's been a brilliant World Cup. In the upcoming days I might do a full review of the World Cup. I'm not too sure yet, depends how busy I am and what happens, but hopefully I can get that done, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, put in the comments down below who you thought deserved to win the World Cup this year, whether you think it was South Africa, whether you think it was England, or whether you think someone else deserved it. Put in the comments down below. Also, put down what your favourite moment of this World Cup was. I'd like to hear it. And yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you in a bit.